This conference will now be recorded.
All right, as always, everything that we're going to be going over today is for educational purposes only. Nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we got a whole bunch of stuff going on this morning. Probably one of the bigger lists that we have in quite some time. And when I say that, I mean obviously, we can see that most of the market everyday type stocks have taken a drop. I told you guys yesterday, SQ. I know Rocket Man Paul had taken puts in that SQ, and I really like them because it's just. I was expecting an overnight drop in a lot of things, and we ended up getting it. Beautiful moves, but we have a bunch of new stuff that we're going to be focusing on. Number one is M. So M this morning has taken a huge fall, and I've been talking about this for a while now. Most Macy's, I know here in New York, if it's a Macy's, it's in a mall somewhere. That's all. I mean, for the most part, in Long Island, I know, obviously Macy's in Manhattan is its own store, but a lot of these Macy's, they're in malls, and malls are basically becoming outdated. And we've been talking about this for quite some time, and we've been on this kind of small, slow drop. And Macy's doesn't really move too much, but overnight we can see it took a pretty big hit. We're down almost about 20%, 1750. Overall, so far as we're pulling back up. But the one thing that we want to look at is that at 27. That lets me go back, which is not going to. And then also 26, we've had some huge covering coming back into the stock. So even though it's taken this big of a drop, we are seeing those positions being closed during the pre-market. So overall, I don't think it really has pulled back below 26 as much as I would have liked to see. You can see right here at 841. So it still has not pulled back as much as, like I said, as much as I would like to see. But overall, I'm going to be expecting a nice pull up to come into this once the market starts. Anyone else lose sound? Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to be expecting after a pull down for this stock to make a pretty decent recovery, because 27 and 26 has some really nice buying and the closing of what I have to assume is a short positions coming into it. Next one, BBBY, which is really annoying to type, but overall coming back into that 13 level. If it lets me come down. So we've had the same type of deal, a bunch of covering that's been coming in, but with the difference between BBBY is the fact that we are seeing some new selling coming in. You can see right here, 1361, which was a very interesting position, or a very ballsy position. I know we talked about this as a variable yesterday in class. And then coming back up to, towards that 1350, I'm not worried. We know that we're going to see these stocks come in, and we know we're going to see them see covering. I mean, it's that simple. The stock's been, on a really big downtrend. On average, it moves 58 cents. If we look during the pre-market, we're talking from, that 1440 level down to almost to 13. Okay, so overall, we're talking about a $1.40 move in comparison to the 58 cents it usually trades. So we know we're going to see covering coming into these stocks. It's a matter of, if we're falling, we want to see new selling that tells us it's going to continue. And we're certainly seeing that new selling. 13 is going to give us all the information that we need based upon the it hitting the level, it not hitting the level. All the variables that come in at that 13 are going to tell us exactly where we're going to be expecting it to go. AAL, now not one of my favorite stocks by any means, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that's going on here. So we know that, first of all, that we're getting brand new selling that's coming in. Covering, I'm not worried about. What I want to see is new selling, and we can look at this 30-50 level. We can see we're certainly getting that to come back. Now, the obvious move would be a pull up from that 30-50 and then hitting this double bottom back at that 30 level. Now that 30 is going to tell us a whole bunch, because based off that 30, if we get new selling that comes in, we're going to expect it to continue back down. 30 being a psychological number. It's going to give us a lot of information, but overall at this moment, I'm looking for a pull up and then a move back down, price target being 30. Next one, KSS. So KSS isn't really my favorite, based off of what we're seeing out here. We've got some nice covering that came in at that 63 level. That is kind of just pulling up from there. Some decent new selling, but there's just, It's going to move today. It's definitely going to move more than what we average, what we expect. 2,065 cents. I'm going to be expecting a lot more of a move than that. But it's going to have to give us some more information. You can see the bigger prints out there this morning, just really not there at all. But just like what we just talked about in Macy's, there is definitely some covering that came in at that 63 level. It's all going to be about getting that new selling. At this moment, I'm going to be expecting it to drop back down to this double bottom. Based off the pull down from those prints at that 63. But then overall, it needs to give us more before we make any type of a real decision. Target, TGT, another one that is basically all the retail are following almost the exact same thing. Now, this did get some new selling that came back down at that 67.50, which is telling us this is a pull up from there right now. 68 aspirins coming in, telling us that someone is riding that one up. At that moment, but again, it's going to need to show us more. There's not enough here that that definitively would make me get into a trade and then hold it once the market opens, and it wouldn't give me any. It hasn't given us anything yet to show us that we would basically be trading it right at the market open. Just not enough prints in there. We have better stuff to be looking at, so it's a little bit towards the bottom of my list. And then MDB, so Mongo, this morning. We need more prints, but as we've been coming in, you can see that 75 level, which is very interesting, a huge psychological level at 75. We have, basically 25, 50, 75, 100. We do have a little bit of selling, but first the table that came back in was an ask. Now, the reason that this is on my list, and it's definitely at the bottom of my list, is because of the fact that we're going to get a huge move in it. Based off of how it typically moves, $5.56, we can see how much has moved during the pre-market. So I'm expecting a very, very big range. Orders are very thin, though. This is going to be like a TLRY type stock. All right, 3, 4, 5 prints that come into it is going to be a huge difficulty of trade, a huge show of hand. We have not really gotten that since this move back up above the 74 and 75 right there yet. So based off of that, once we get any type of controlling prints that come into it, it's going to be one of the first things I look at because of the fact of how much we expect it to move. Can we see CELG? Of course. Have you seen a show of hand in Boeing BA? See, BA, I don't have it on my list, BA. Just not really trading anything special, but at 347, since I've started talking, I'll get to that in a second. So CELG is absolute garbage. There's nothing going on there. 719 shares is not something I'm going to be able to pay attention to once the market opens. And BA coming in 347, you could see right here, beautiful show of hand. Really, really good buying that came into there. So expect to pull back before this thing ends up making money above that 347 level. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? All right, so STZ, I really don't have much of an interest in based off of, just not, 159,000 shares, but it's trading just like garbage. There's better stuff for us to be looking at coming back in. Overall, yesterday, it came back underneath where our 150, 150, not as much as it needs to. So based off of what we're seeing right now, we are getting, we did get some good buying that came into it earlier this morning, but overall still expecting a bigger drop underneath that 150, 150. Aren't we still waiting for it to drop below 150, 150? Well, it did. It absolutely did yesterday. If you look, about $1.25, give or take, that came into it, but I do expect it to drop more. But remember, this stock is going to be moving huge. Its range it's incredible. Yesterday, it moved $10.89. It dropped $24 in the pre-market. So you have to keep that in mind, that this stock moving up $5 is nothing for a stock like this. Can we see Facebook also? So what would you like to see in Facebook? The chart? You can find charts anywhere. Right now, Facebook is trading 25,000 shares. No interest whatsoever. The story has not changed. 142, 137, and 132, all selling there. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Rich, from a couple weeks ago, SCO prints at 69, that never got satisfied. The prints on an SQ at 69 were sell prints. So they absolutely got satisfied. Okay, if we look, the stock dropped to 50. So you guys, we talked about this yesterday in class. Sell prints just because you don't get, and remember, we don't know what Goldman Sachs is doing, how big of a position they're building. Any pull up or pull down is the building of a position. When they are done, the stock goes to where the prints are. So the prints at 69 were all sell. So the expectation, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to pull up above 69 at some point because there's all buying in SQ right now. But at the same time, remember, our high probability trades are following the prints. They are not on pull-ups and pull-downs. Okay, we know to a high percentage that the stock is going to be affected by them. But overall, if you have huge selling at 69, what's the one thing that we know? What's the one guarantee we know? If we have huge selling at 69, what's going to happen? It's going to go below 69. That's what we know. Okay, now to a big percentage, if we have huge selling at 69, should the stock pull up to 70 and it's being a psychological number? Absolutely. But overall, the one thing that we can guarantee ourselves, and when I say guarantee, I mean there's no such thing as 100%, but to a very, very high percentage, huge selling at 69 will always mean the stock is going below 69. And by always, no such thing as 100%, but you guys got me. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? No. All right, beautiful. So I will be sending out the link in a few minutes for class that will begin at 10. Looking forward to this one. We're going to be taking all these variables that we went over for the past 2 days, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying them into the actual stocks that are moving at that moment, which is for me personally is a lot more fun because we're going to be using pretty much everything that's live, and also one of the big parts is being able to understand how to assign percentages to the variables that we have. All right, guys. So I'll see everyone in the chat, then the rest of you in class, and happy trading.